Hi and welcome to Entry Level 3 English Week 2. We're already on Week 2. So hope you enjoyed Week 1. It was just more of an introduction to the course and some terminology that you needed to know. So now sort of the real lessons start. So I just want to have a look at what our objectives are for today, and so you can see what I hope to cover today and for our homework as well. So as I said, this is Entry Level 3 English Week 2. Today's objectives: a spelling list. So I'm going to give you some words that I want you to learn for a test next week. Okay, so you'll have a list of spellings to learn. I want to check your understanding of the present simple tense. So we're going to be looking at grammar quite a lot throughout this course, several times throughout the course. And I'll be checking your understanding of the tenses. So we're going to start with the most basic one, or the most sort of obvious one, I suppose, the present simple tense. So we're going to be looking at that today. Then we're going to be looking at different types of text. So types of text, what I mean by that is different styles of writing to help improve our writing. So today we're going to be looking at a leaflet or an advert. A leaflet is like something that comes through your door. Like I don't have one to show you. A leaflet is like an advert that comes through your door. Maybe it comes through the post box and it tells you about maybe a cleaning company or a gardening company or a window cleaner. But yeah, leaflets are usually sort of, this size, and they come through your post and they advertise something. They tell you about a service or a new shop opening or a new restaurant opening or something. So we're going to be looking at that today, and then for your homework you're going to be reading a leaflet and answering some questions about it. Okay, so making sure that you understand what the leaflet's saying, so practicing your reading comprehension. And also you're going to be writing a leaflet, so you're going to be writing a little leaflet for me to advertise your hometown or your home city. So we'll talk about a little bit about that later on. So those are our objectives for today. Okay, right, I'm just going to pause and get the spellings up for next week. Okay, so I've got 10 words up on the board for you for this week that you need to learn, ready for your test next week. So every week you'll have a spelling test, and every week you'll have new words or a selection of the old words and some new words, depending on how well you do with the spellings. So the spellings to learn for next week, for week 3, are words ending with the un sound, I-O-N. So this sound, this un, competition, un sound, there's quite a lot of them, and it's a strange collection of letters, I-O-N. And they're either T-I-O-N, shun, competition, or S-I-O-N, shun, same sound, shun, but T-I or S-I. Some of them have S before the I-O-N, some of them have T before the I-O-N. So yeah, so all these words ending with I-O-N, the un sound, shun, and that could be T or it could be S. So I've got 10 words here that I want you to learn, okay, and there's no easy way to do it. There are more with T-I-O-N than there are S-I-O-N, but yeah, there's no easy way really. I'm trying to think of an easy way, but no, I can't. I can't think of an easy way to learn them. So we're going to have a look through, and as I say, these are just things that you have to learn. So number 1, competition, C-O-M-P-E-T-I-T-I-O-N. So they've all got that I-O-N at the end. This one is T-I-O-N, shun. Shun. When you hear that word, that sound, shun, then you remember it's either T-I-O-N or S-I-O-N. Okay, competition. So comp, E-T-I, shun. T-shun. Competition. I entered a competition last week and won £500. Competition. Station. S-T-A-T-I-O-N. So again, T-I-O-N, this one, shun. Station. The train leaves the station at 1 p.m. Number 3, explanation. Explanation. So explanation. Explanation. So that N word, nation, that's a word on its own, isn't it? Nation. What nation do you come from? So, or nationality. That comes from that word, doesn't it? Explanation. And it's not like explain because there's no I in it, whereas explain would have an I in it. So explanation. Can you please give me an explanation of why you were late for work today? Number 4, occasion. 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 It was a formal occasion, so I wore a suit and tie. Number 5, discussion. DISCUSSION. Discuss. From the word discuss, discussion. And those ones have got S's before the ION. Discussion. You need to have a discussion with your manager. Right. B, examination. Exam, in, nation, and again, nation. Got NATION, both of those at the end, but this is examine. Okay, examination. You will have an examination at the end of this course. So an explosion. 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 There was an explosion in the factory. Number 8, action. ACTION. From the word act as well. Act, ACT, action. Remember, a lot of English words, they come from other words or have root words like compete. The root word is compete. Act. Educate. And we've taken the E off and put un on the end. Educate, education. So a lot of these words, once you've learn how to sort of spell the main root, you then can just change the endings to make different words. Action. Number 9, position. 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 What position did you come in the race? I came first. An action. What action should you take if there is a fire? You must leave the building immediately. Number 10, education. 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 It's important to get a good education. Right, so these are your 10 words. What I want you to do is learn them, but also I want you to put them in alphabetical order for me, okay? I want you to put them in alphabetical order for me, and I also want you to make 10 sentences using the words. So a sentence for every word. So competition. I won a competition last week, and I entered a competition last week, and I won £500. So I want you to make a sentence for every letter. So I want them in alphabetical order. So do we know what we mean by alphabetical order? That means putting them in order of the alphabet. So anything with A comes first. So action would be first. Anything with B comes second. There's no B's. So then we go to C, competition, etc. And when you have some that have got, so we've got lots of E's, you then have to look at the next letter, EX, ED. This one will be first because D becomes before X. Okay, so I want them in alphabetical order. And then these ones, again, you have to look EXP, EXA, EXP. This one, because A comes before P. So you need to put these in alphabetical order. You look along each time. Okay, so try to put them in alphabetical order and then write me 10 sentences, 1 sentence for each word, so that I can see you're using the words correctly and you understand their meaning. Okay, so that's your spellings for next week, and that's what I want you to do with them. I'm just going to pause and get rid of that. Okay, so we have here our main uses of the present simple tense. So we're going to be looking at the present simple tense today. just to make sure that we have a good understanding of it and how it's formed, because it's really easy with our grammar to make mistakes. And in English we have lots of different tenses. So we've got the present simple, the present continuous, the present perfect, the future simple, the future continuous, the future perfect, the past simple, the past perfect, the past continuous. So we've got all these different tenses that you need to be really familiar with to be able to use your language effectively and to be able to write effectively as well. So today we're just going to look at the present simple tense, okay, and just make sure that we understand why we use it, when we use it, and how we use that. So main uses of the present simple tense. Now, you may know some of this already. If you've done entry levels 1 and 2 with me, you will have done some of this. So this will be more revision. But if this is the first course with me, you may not have done this since you were at school or ever. So that's why we're going over it again. And even if you did do it in entry level 1 and entry level 2 courses with me, in previous courses with me, going over it again and again is really important, because that's how it stays in our minds. Okay, so main uses. We use the present simple tense to talk about things that are true in the present time. So things that are true in our current lives at present. So for example, I have 2 children. Here's my verb. Okay, I have 2 children. I am 47 years old. There's my verb. So look how we structure those sentences. We have a subject, I, a verb, and then the rest of our sentence, the object of our sentence. So I have 2 children. I am 47 years old. These things are true at this present time. They are facts. They are truths, okay, at this present time. I am 47 years old, but I won't be in March. I'll be 48 years old. How awful. How old. I have 2 children. I think that will stay true. I'm not having any more children. But it could change, I suppose. But no, I have 2 children. So these are things that are true in this present time. Okay, I have 2 children. I am 47 years old. And here's our verb here after our subject, which is I, you, he, she, it. And we're going to look at that a little bit more in a minute, and how we change the verb according to the subject. But we'll look at that in a minute. Things that are always true. So they never change. They're always true. So London is the capital city of England. Dogs have a tail. Okay? Dogs are born with a tail. That's always true. They just have their tails. And London is the capital city of England. These things are always true. So we use the present simple tense for things that are always true, that don't change, that are facts, okay? Factual information. We also use the present simple tense for things that are regular habits, routines or occurrences in our present life. So a little bit like things that are true in our life. But we tend to use these with what I call time expressions or adverbs of frequency. So for example, I go for a run 3 times a week. Okay, I go for a run 3 times a week. So there's our verb, it's our subject, I go for a run. How often do I go? 3 times a week. Okay, so an adverb frequency, a frequency expression or adverb frequency would be always. So I play football on Saturdays. Every Saturday I play football. Okay, I play football on Saturdays. I always get up at 6 a.m. So we've got always, here's our adverb frequency. Here's our phrasal verb to get up at 6 a.m. Okay, so things that are regular habits or routines or regular occurrences, things that happen regularly, every week, every day, every summer, every winter. I go to Greece every summer. Okay, things that are regular habits or occurrences or routines. And we tend to use them with these sort of time expressions. So I go for a run 3 times a week. I play football on Saturdays. Notice with the day, Saturday, we use on, that preposition on with days. On Saturday, on Friday, on Thursday, on Monday, we use on with a day of the week. I always, so that means, 100% definitely, I always get up at 6 a.m. and notice we use at with time, at 10, at 11, at 12. I always get up at 6. And notice also our adverb, our frequency adverb here, frequency adverb always goes after the subject. Our time expressions, or our frequency expressions, not adverbs, frequency expressions, go at the end. Okay, they go at the end of the sentence. But things, what we call our frequency adverbs, they go after the subject at the beginning of the sentence. We'll look again at that in a minute as well. Okay, so these are our main uses of the present simple tense. Just 1 minute. There is one other. Which I couldn't quite fit on. I'll fit it on now. Actually, I'll just pause and write it on so I don't waste video time. Okay, and the last one that I'm going to talk about is for timetables. So we use the present simple tense for timetables. Things, it may be in the future, but we don't have to use the future tense because it's always true. A timetable is a fixed time in the future. So we often use it for school timetables or for transport timetables like trains, buses, aeroplanes, flights, that type of thing. So the train leaves at 6 p.m. Okay, so we've got our verb to leave, and in the present simple we add an S for it, but we'll talk about that in a minute. The train leaves at 6 p.m, so we're using the present simple tense, not the future will leave. We can do, but often we use the present simple tense for fixed timetables. Maths class starts at 10 a.m. and again notice we use at with time, at 6, at 10. We use that preposition at with time. So maths class starts, to start, the verb to start, but we add an S because it, and we're going to talk about that a little bit in a minute. Okay, so present simple tense, we use it for things that are true in the present time. I have 2 children. I live in Salisbury. I work at Alert Training. I am 47 years old. My name is Sarah. Things that are always true. London is the capital city of England. Dogs have a tail. Boris Johnson, oh no, that's not always true. That would be things that are present. Boris Johnson is Prime Minister. Things that are always true. England has 4 seasons. Okay, things that are regular habits, routines, occurrences in our present life. So things that we do regularly or on a regular occurrence. So I go for a run 3 times a week. I play football on Saturdays. I always get up at 6 a.m. Okay, so these things are happening regularly, all the time or often, every week or, over and over again. And then for timetables, for school or transport. So the train leaves at 6 p.m, the maths class starts at 10 a.m. All right, so these are our main uses of the present simple tense. So just make sure you've got those jotted down, you've got those written down, because that's quite important that you understand when we use the present simple tense, because people often make the mistake of using it when they shouldn't use it, using it at random times. So that's when we use it, okay? Now we're just going to look at how it's formed briefly, okay? Okay, so we're just going to look briefly, as I said, if you've done courses with me before, if you've done the entry level 1 and the entry level 2 course, you should be familiar with this. We do this a lot, and you should feel familiar and comfortable with the present simple. But this is just a revision, and also if you haven't done a course with me before, I need to check that you understand how the present simple tense is formed. So yeah, we're just going to go over it now. So it may feel, if you feel you don't know this well enough because you haven't done a course with me before, then please tell me and I can send you extra work. Or if you haven't gone over this before, if you don't understand it or you don't feel comfortable with it, then let me know, because this is just a revision really, just a quick recap. Okay, so the present simple. So we've got our infinitive verb, so you should know what the infinitive verb is. That's the base form of the verb. At entry levels 1 and 2, we call it the base form. When we get to entry level 3, we call it the infinitive. The infinitive verb. So I'm just taking a verb, and the verb is go, to go. That's our infinitive verb. It's the base form of our verb, go. Here we've got our subject. I, you, singular you. So I, you, singular, one person. He, she and it. So he, my brother, she, my sister, it, the cat. They, that group of people over there. You, that's plural, so you and other people. And we, me and you. Okay? And then, as you can see, in the present simple, usually it is go with everything, apart from he, she and it. Now, most verbs in the present simple, for he, she and it, we add s or es. Okay, so with go, we add es. It becomes goes. He goes to the gym on Sundays. I go to the gym on Sundays. They go to the gym on Sundays. She goes to the gym on Sunday. So we add this es for he, she or it. My mother goes shopping on Saturdays. She, my mother. They go to the park on Friday afternoons. My dad goes to work on Sunday morning. Okay, so we add es to go for he, she and it. Okay, and when you've got the present simple, you've got to remember when you're talking about he, she or it, it could be the dog, the cat, house, computer, pen, it, a thing, an object. We add es for go. So go becomes goes, but only for he, she and it. Okay, so now for most, let me just pause so I don't waste video time. Okay, so a little bit like go, the verb to do, okay, also adds es for he, she or it. So it becomes does. So I do, you do, he, she, it does. They do, you do, we do. Okay, so we add es for do and go. So I do the washing at the weekends. She does the washing at the weekends. Okay, so go and do, we add that es. Okay, now most verbs, so here's our infinitive here, to play, to drive, to eat, to learn, to visit, to drink, and don't forget, you should be familiar with what a verb is by now. A verb is an action word or doing word. So our infinitive verb here, in the present simple, most of them we just add an s for he, she or it. So it stays the same. I play, you play. He, she, it plays, and we add that s. So I play the guitar, he plays the guitar, she plays the guitar. Okay? So usually we add an s. So play becomes plays, drive becomes drives, he drives to work. Eat becomes eats, he eats pizza on Friday nights. Learn becomes learns, we add that s. She learns English on a Thursday. Visit becomes visits, she visits her grandmother on a Sunday. Drink becomes drinks, she drinks wine on Friday night. So usually we just add s for he, she, it. Okay? So es for go and does, go and do, becomes goes and does. But most of them we just add s for he, she and it. A couple of things I'm just going to put up. Okay, so a couple of things I just wanted to point out. The infinitive verb to have becomes has with he, she and it. Okay, so I have 2 children. He has a cat. Okay, so I, you, they, you, and we have, but he, she, it has. So we get rid of the V and E and replace it with an S. And to carry and to study and a few other ones that end in Y, not play, because I'll explain in a minute, but we get rid of the Y and put IES, IES. She studies, he carries. And play, so let's have I'm trying to think of other ones as well. Play. Just add an S because, okay, so these ones we get rid of the Y and we add IES. This one we keep the Y and just add S because there is a vowel before the Y. If there's a vowel before the Y, then we don't remove the Y, we just add S. But if there's a consonant before the Y, we remove the Y and put IES. Okay, so vowel, A-E-I-O-U. So if it's vowel Y, we just add S. So for example, okay, because there is a vowel before the Y, so we just add S. But if there's a consonant, so B, C, D, all the other ones, we get rid of the Y and put IES. Okay, so present simple tense, basically with he, she and it, we add an S or an ES or an IES, or we change it from have to has. There's quite a few different ones, so you just have to learn them. This one with the Y is kind of easy rule to remember. Consonant Y, remove the Y, put IES. Vowel Y, just add S. Okay, but the others, go and do, just have to remember, very short, add ES. Have, has, most of them we just add S to. And the majority we just add S to. So, you know, if you add an S, you're quite safe. And if you're not sure, use your dictionary, look the word up in the dictionary, and it will tell you what the plural, what the present simple form is in there. You can look that up. So for he, she, and it, we change the verb. Everything else, it stays the same as the infinitive. So it's quite easy, the present simple, because it only changes for he, she, and it, except for one verb, which I'm just going to show you. Okay, so one verb, the verb to be, is a bit annoying. Quite annoying verb, because it changes with several of the subjects. So the verb to be, it's like the state of being, to be, like the state of being. I don't know how to describe it really. So the state of be, with I, be becomes am. I am. So be becomes I am. Becomes am with I. I am a teacher. You are a student. He, she, it is 30 years old. They are happy. You are doctors. We are nurses. So we've got they, you, and we are. He, she, it is, and I am with be. Okay, so be is a bit different to all of the others because it does, the others stay the same for the, apart from he, she, and it, whereas for be it changes with I, you, he, she, and it. They're all different. Okay, so the verb to be, you have to remember that. And don't forget as well that we contract these words. I am becomes I'm. You are becomes your. He is or she is becomes he's. They are becomes their, your, and we're. We contract these verbs, okay, to make them shorter when we're speaking. Not necessarily for writing. If we're writing to a friend or just a text message or a note, yeah. But if we're writing properly, we don't do this. We write it like this. But if we're talking, definitely. I'm English. I'm a teacher. Yeah, you're Polish, you're a student. Okay, for example. So the verb to be does change a few times, so just try and remember that. Okay, so I've just gone through some of the uses of the present simple tense and how we form the present simple tense. So it generally changes for he, she, it. Okay, so don't forget that. And you're going to be having some practice of that when you're writing, so making sure you're using it correctly. Okay, so you'll get some practice of that in your homework. Right, I'm just going to pause and get rid of this. Okay, so we've looked at the present simple tense and we've done your spellings. Next week we're going to recap the present simple tense but be looking at negatives and question forms, okay? So we will be looking at negatives and question forms next week to make sure you've got those right as well. But for now we've just kept to the positive of the present simple. So now we're going to be looking at types of text. By types of text I mean the different styles of writing, the different styles of documents that you will find in English, that you will have to be familiar with and be able to write and be able to read. So, for example, could be a letter, could be an email, an advert, a web page, something on the internet, form, filling in a form, an application form or a form online, a report, writing a report for work, writing a note for your friend or your wife or your husband or your children. Could be a text message, could be a social media post, could be an article in a newspaper or a magazine. Okay, so there's lots of different types of text and you're going to have to be familiar to write all of these, or most at entry level 3, yeah. You're certainly to read all of them and potentially write most of them as well. At entry level 3, so you're going to have to be familiar with them. So every week we'll be looking, or most weeks we'll be looking at a different type of text and how we lay it out and how we present it. Okay, so this week we are going to be looking at adverts. All right, so that's what we're going to be looking at this week. So okay, so as I said, we're going to be looking at adverts, or it could be in the form of a leaflet or a poster. So a leaflet is something like this. This is an advert or a leaflet. It comes through your door. It advertises something. It tells you some information. Okay, and it comes through your letterbox maybe, or in a magazine. Another kind of leaflet, advert. This is an advert here. Okay, for yummy pizza and yummy cookies. So, you know, this is an advert. It advertises something. Adverts are trying to sell you something or trying to promote something, trying to persuade you to take part in something. So this is trying to make me get pizza. It's trying to make me get pizza. Because you can get 2 for $24.99. It's pretty good, right? 2 large pizzas and a side. It's quite good. So this is trying to persuade me, what we call persuade me, to buy something. It might be trying to persuade you to buy something or to go somewhere or to try something or to do something. Okay, so an advert is trying to make you do something basically. And as I said, you know, this one here, this is a little leaflet that's trying to persuade me to do something for the Teenage Cancer Trust. Okay, so to do something for them. So give your favourite book to a friend, pick up litter in your neighbourhood, offer help to a neighbour. So share some kindness. It's trying to make a community and to share kindness in the community. So it's trying to make me do something. So an advert or a leaflet or a poster usually does this. It advertises something. Okay? It's trying to make us do something. So you will have to be able to write leaflets or adverts, and you're going to be reading them and finding information from them as well. So we're going to look a little bit at some of the layout of them today. Okay, so the really important things we need to know about adverts or leaflets or posters, whatever you want to call them, is one, you understand their purpose, what their purpose is, what their reason is, and that's to persuade you to do something ultimately, persuade you to buy something, persuade you to do something, to go somewhere, to try something, but it's to persuade you, to try and make you, encourage you to do something. The other thing we really need to focus on is the layout, format and presentation of them. So what should they look like? Because you're going to have to write some, and you're also going to have to identify when it's an advert from a selection of texts in your exam as well. So you need to be able to sort of look at it and think, that's an advert. Its purpose is to make me buy pizza. Okay, so the layout, the format, the presentation, it often has what we call large font. Font is the letters. These letters, this is font, we call this. Okay, and it's often large, as you can see, it's very big. Okay, it's because it stands out, doesn't it? It's like, whoa, it really makes you notice it. It often has bold text. By bold, it means that it's much darker, really dark and thick. Yeah, dark, thick text. It's bold. It makes it stand out so you can see it really easily. Often has coloured font. So often you'll get font that's in a different colour. So I've got red or blue. Okay, so it's in a colour so that it stands out. We see it. It draws our attention. It attracts our eyes to it. It'll have pictures. Yeah, pictures often, because pictures, they make you look at, pictures are nice and attractive to look at, so we want to look. It might have special deals or offers, so, only $24.99, so it has a special deal or a special offer. Buy one, get one free. This will attract you. Remember, its job is to persuade you to do something, so it's going to try and attract you, trying to get your attention. It might have a heading, so it might have a main heading at the top. What's that? The too tasty. Okay, the too tasty. So a heading, like a heading across the top in big letters. It might have subheadings. Subheadings are the separate headings underneath the main heading. It might have a table in it. It might have a chart. So it might have like a table with some information in, because again, you can see maybe they've got the special prices in there or special deals in the table or in the chart. It might have a diagram or a graph or something like that. So this is the sort of layout, format, presentation of an advert or leaflet. When you come to write one for an exam, in real life, if you have to advertise an event at the company you work for, you will want to be thinking about making sure you've got some of these aspects in your advert or in your leaflet. So you might want a big, bold, colourful heading, and you might want some pictures, and you might want to make sure you highlight any special deals or offers and use bold text or coloured font. Have subheadings for the important bits that you want people to read. So those are the things you need to think about when it comes to the layout, the format or the presentation. It's all the same thing. Layout, format, presentation, it's the same, of the leaflet. And the purpose, persuade you to do something, make you use something, buy something, try something. And just one other thing that I'm going to put up on here is let me just save on time. Okay, and one other thing I want to mention about adverts or leaflets or posters, something that's trying to persuade you or make you do something, is the language that you need to use when you're writing. Okay, so you need to use exciting language to make people want to do it or want to buy it. So we're going to use adjectives, lots of adjectives, to make it more interesting and more exciting. So you might use things like fantastic, amazing, beautiful, brilliant, tasty, okay? And then we might use bias. Bias is exaggeration, where we exaggerate, okay? So the best deal, the cheapest deal, most beautiful hotel. Okay, so the most beautiful swimming pool. So the language used, we use these adjectives. Remember, adjectives come before the noun to describe the noun. So a beautiful swimming pool, a beautiful hotel, a tasty meal, a fantastic movie. Okay, they come before the noun, so we use our a or the or whatever. A beautiful hotel. They describe, adjectives describe the noun, don't they? And then we also have bias, where we exaggerate the truth a little bit. So the best hotel, the most beautiful hotel, the cheapest hotel. Don't know whether that's a good thing though. The cheapest, I don't know whether cheap is always good, but you get my meaning. So again, they go before, they're describing that noun, okay? They're telling you why it's so good. So the language you're using when you write a leaflet or an advert should be exciting. It should be maybe slightly biased, use some exaggeration, and we should see some adjectives in there, okay? Okay, so just last bit here, just your homework, what you need to do for your homework. So learn your spellings that I gave you right at the beginning of the video. Put them in alphabetical order and write 10 sentences using those words, okay, so that you're practicing them. Make sure you learn those for your test next week. Revise the present simple tense. Just go over and make sure you're comfortable with it. If you know it, great, fantastic. As I said, if you've done entry level 1 and entry level 2, you should be fairly familiar with it by now. Read the leaflet that's attached to this email and answer the questions about it. Okay, so read the leaflet that's attached to this email and answer the questions about it. Then I want you to write a leaflet advertising something. So you could advertise your hometown or city. You could tell me how great it is, what there is to do there, what there is to see there. You know, a little leaflet encouraging me to go there. Or you could advertise a film or a restaurant, whatever you want to advertise. Try and use the present simple tense in there. To tell me lots of facts about it and lots of things about it that will encourage me to go to the restaurant, or encourage me to see the film, or encourage me to visit your city or your town. Okay, so any problems, then email me, text me, message me, phone me, whatever, if you've got any problems and you don't understand anything. Otherwise, good luck. I look forward to seeing your homework in the next few days, and I will see you next week. Take care, guys, and have a great week. Bye.